the two best words in the English language, Game 7. And that's what we've got on our hands here tonight, folks. We thought Game 6 was the biggest game of our lives. Well, it was the biggest game of our lives so far, ladies and gentlemen, because tonight is for all the marbles. This will be the final episode of Pre-Gaming with BORDZY, win, lose, or draw. It's been a hell of a season, a hell of a year, hell of a roller coaster, and I think roller coaster is putting it lightly in this 2024 season. So let's get things started. We're going for 90 minutes today, live from Greta Bar Yeg. This place is already packed. Get your ass down here. Come stand with us in the corner of the bar. Hello and welcome to Pre-Gaming with BORDZY, brought to you by Sherwood Ford the Giant for a reason. You know the drill by now, people. Subscribe to the ON YouTube channel, throw down your courtesy like, get in the chats, because people, this is the last time I will get to be able to read your comments aloud. Rusty, of course, NOG, he's in the chat first. He says, let's go Oilers. Everybody loves Rusty. Veer Partap said, I love you, Rusty. Bo is on his way to Greta. I got to meet him at the last game as well. Absolute stud. Says he's going to be standing around with us. But gentlemen, we are finally here. I'm joined by Cam Lewis and my boy, Brett Holden, also known as Brett. Holden Coombsy, we'll start with you because you are the fourth longest tenured member here at Oilers Nation. I believe it goes Jay, Bagmilk, Wanye, and then my boy Coombsy. You've been along for this ride, I think, since 2015.
2015, that's right. That's when I got hired in January of 2015. Everything changed for the Oilers that year. Everything changed for Oilers Nation that year.
What's it? Yeah, you're goddamn right it did. What's it like? I needed to get you on the pregame show. Gonna have you on the postgame show because you've been through this roller coaster, not just this season, but for now, possibly the last 9 years in general. Coombsy, the floor is yours. What does this mean to you right now?
It's exciting to see the entire city wrapped up in it, right? Because it's been so long. It's been such a process. And I mean, I think a lot of us sit there and they think, you know what, eventually Connor McDavid and the Oilers are going to win a championship. And that's one thing. But I've been looking back at some really spectacular championships, like iconic championships that other teams in other leagues have won. And coming back from 3-0 for the Oilers would make that the best hockey championship, the best Stanley Cup of all time. It'd be right up there with, in 2004, the Boston Red Sox came back from 3-0 down against the New York Yankees, won their first World Series, subsequently the next series in over 80 years. And then LeBron James with the Cleveland Cavaliers comes back from 3-1 down against the dynasty Golden State Warriors. That's an iconic moment for LeBron's career. It's his most memorable championship, more memorable than the ones in Miami, more memorable than the one with the Lakers.
The chase down block, had his moments in that too.
He had his huge moment where he chased down the block on Iguodala, and it was incredible. And same thing with the Red Sox. You have David Ortiz with his walk-off. That cemented him as a first-ballot Hall of Famer, no doubt. And Connor McDavid, I mean, we all know he's going to be a Hall of Famer. He's going to win many trophies. He's going to win many awards. And, I mean, maybe he'll win multiple Stanley Cups. Who knows? But if he comes back from 3-0 down in this final, it'll be hockey's iconic moment, and he'll attach himself to him as the best player of this generation.
I love it. When I think of like the greatest comebacks in the four major sports we got, I do think 3-1 against the 73-9 Golden State Warriors, best record all time. You mentioned the 04 Red Sox. Obviously, the 28-3 the New England Patriots. I'm going to say that. But Brett, he just mentioned it with McDavid. It's the back-to-back 4-point nights. And yes, he didn't record a point, didn't record a shot in whatever that last game. But a win tonight could put Connor McDavid in legendary status. Dare I say Mount Rushmore status?
100%. It's the only thing that's been missing so far. It's the only thing that's missing from Connor McDavid's trophy case, and the only thing missing from Connor McDavid's resume. He's got everything else. He is proven over and over again. Even when we're sitting here going, shoot the puck, go score more goals. He goes, okay, I'll just go get 100 assists. Oh, I'm going to go get 60 goals as well when I did the year before. He's just having fun at this point. The only thing that's missing for him right now is that Stanley Cup. And he's already one of the top 3 probably players, at least talent-wise, to play in the NHL. But if he does this, he could be a top 3, top 2, top player of all time.
I don't think anyone's ever going to argue with Gretzky being the GOAT, right? When the point discrepancy is that large and everything. But it has been awesome to now see the entire sports world, like ESPN, American Sports Center, talking about, holy shit, is this guy as good as Gretzky talent-wise? I think it's fair to say he has more talent than you've ever seen anyone who had 2 skates on their feet out there on the ice. The things he can do, the speeds he can do it at, the control of the puck he has. And tonight would be an ultimate point in that resume, in that legacy for one Connor McDavid. Checking in the chat right now. Cody's in, Brett. He says, Brett is looking as handsome as ever. Gentlemen, let's cheers our coffees to that. Because we are pre-gaming.
Love an evening
You
coffee.
guess what's in here? You
Gonna
gotta
be up all night.
have your cup of Joe. Mine's a Greta Corporation, Brett. He's got Greta. What does yours say?
Mine says, shit, I forgot to create a personal brand.
Ah,
Hate it when that happens.
big shouts out to Greta for letting us do this all season long. Hit that one for me, Pat. I was gonna hit that one as well, I think. Shout out to Loyal to Oil. He said, Bordsy, at 2-9-1, it got so dark in here. Yes, it did. You brought the positivity and shared our hope. Thanks for an excellent year. Let's go, Oilers. I love you. I appreciate every bit of that. I couldn't have been positive without each and every single one of you in the chat. So hopefully tonight, if it goes the way we want on After Dark, it's open season to Nation Citizens on the show tonight.
Cast.
There might be sponsors just off the screen entirely on tonight's show just to play things safe, but that's the way we do this. Let's squeeze this in here because our coverage of the final is presented by Fountain Tire, because Fountain Tire ensures that 100% of their vehicles owned have properly aligned wheels. Wheel alignments extend the life of your tire, which lowers the carbon footprint of your vehicle, reduces emissions, and lowers your fuel consumption. You can read more about Fountain Tire's ESG initiatives at fountaintire.com. Boys, we're down here at Greta. It is already packed. It is already standing room only. Every seat is taken. We've opened up the projector to be like movie seat seating. But the best move that I've made, and I can't believe I waited 61, 62 days to do this, I brought my own personal fan that is literally right here in front of the camera because I rewatched Oilers Nation After Dark after the last one. I looked as red as a fucking tomato on that show every 5 seconds, trying to wipe sweat off every bit I can. But Brett, the point I want to make, I expect tonight to be the most lit night in Edmonton history, Greta history, my history, whatever you want to say. Tonight is going to be a movie.
Yeah, I take the scooters over here because I take the train downtown. So I was taking the scooters and it went right past 104th Street, I believe it would have been. And all I could hear, and I'm going down the bike path. I'm not even down that street. And all I can hear is at the arena. It's all I can hear. And streets down, their horns honking, their chants going on. Let's go, Oilers. It's unbelievable. It's I've never seen this place so busy to an hour and a half before puck drop. But I was like, I don't even know how I can get in here. I didn't try even going out the front or coming in the front. I went right through the side. I know, and I can hear how loud it is. Tonight is going to be insane.
We got just friends on friends
yeah.
friends coming in. It's going to be an army of Bordzy's people out here. Every one of you Nation citizens. Coombsy, you live downtown. You've been out in the streets every bit of this. Today is insane. There's been people drinking since the morning. My buddy Styles, what a dream day for Game 7. He goes golfing at 8 a.m. in his McDavid jersey, just hits every single bar in Edmonton right now. Needless to say, he's feeling pretty good right now. But Coombsy, this is insane. The line of Yea, who shall not be named next door, Voldemort down there, was out the ass going out here. We open the doors here at 3 o'clock. We just got an army of people behind here. What can you say about the way this city has felt today? There's a nervous energy, absolutely. We'll talk about that in a moment. But the excitement is just palpable right now.
It's been going on. It's been going on more than just today. It was as soon as the game ended on Friday. It was as soon as Game 6 ended on Friday. I remember Liam and I walked out of the stadium and there was like a kid with a drum banging. It was everybody in their vehicles. People are leaning out to give high fives. It was honking all Sunday. Like it felt like everybody was walking on a cloud. And then today it just feels like everyone woke up and they're just trying to get their day over with. Like, I mean, I couldn't focus on anything today. Like Zach sends me a text and he's like, me and Aaron are in the office right now, swing by. So I'm walking distance. I'm just up in Riverdale and I'm like, all right, I'm going to come in. I'm going to come to the office. I'm going to be productive. I'm going to write something. I'm going to do something so I feel good. And then I get to the office and I'm like, fuck, wait a minute.
You didn't do shit.
I didn't bring my backpack. I didn't bring my laptop. I didn't bring anything. Like I can't even think. I can't even get my stuff organized and bring it down so I can start working. There's just no way. Like, today, tomorrow, it should all be a civic holiday.
It should be no one should have to go to work. Let me know if you did have to go to work today, if you got a half day, if you're getting a half day tomorrow as well. You know, Oilers Nation every day is every day. So we will be working at noon tomorrow. The possibility of me not even sleeping before that show, probably pretty good. But hey, we can keep it together. We do plenty of shows like that. So I want to talk Game 7s. Lots of nervous energy. I've watched so many Game 7s in my life, and it's a different animal. If you were just a regular sports fan, not invested in the Panthers or the Oilers, this is the greatest time ever. A Monday night, you get to sit down and watch do or die hockey, possibly the greatest comeback of all time. But if you're a Panthers fan and you're an Oilers fan, I have been nauseous all day long. I had to choke down a sandwich today. It's the only thing I've eaten. Got to bed nice and early with the hope of getting some food down in my stomach. Not been able to do it, but nauseous all day. How are you guys doing on the nauseous scale right now?
I was nauseous. Today.
I still am.
Yeah.
Before BJN this morning at 9 or whenever we did it, I was sitting there doing our boards. And I was like, oh, God.
Do you remember a single thing we said?
No, God,
we
no.
recorded this morning at 9 a.m. We recorded for 45 minutes about the Blue Jays. I cannot remember a word that I said. I have no idea.
I can't believe they make you guys still do the Blue Jays stuff during this time, Brent. And they're so dog shit. No one wants to talk about that.
It's kind of our little piece of humbling.
We'll just make fun of them.
Yeah.
What can you say?
That's fair. But all right, let's get into some hockey talk here because it's Game 7. Literally nothing better. As I mentioned, the two best words in the English language is game followed by 7. I want to go through a little history here because there's been 7 Game 7s in the Stanley Cup Final in this millennium since 2000. The Avs beat the Devils 3-1 in 2001. The Devils beat the Ducks 3-0 in 2003. We all remember that series. Paul Kariya getting knocked the fuck out.
Off the floor on the board.
Then the Lightning beat the Flames 2-1 in 2004. The Carolina Hurricanes defeated somebody 3-1 in 2006, the Stanley Cup Final. Don't know who that is. Don't want to talk about that. The Penguins beat the Red Wings 2-1 in 2009. The Bruins beat the Canucks 4-0 2011. Blues beat the Bruins 4-1 2019. There's 2 takeaways I have from that. One, the under is a goddamn lock tonight. Every single one of those games hit the under of 5.5 total goals is what the line is tonight for the Edmonton Oilers. Only one of those games had 5 goals. The rest were 4 or less. And 2 is I think tonight is going to be a low event, low scoring, painfully stressful hockey game that we are going to have to endure because it's do or die time. I think the nerves will be palpable. Everyone is going to feel it. And it's only human to not want to be the guy that fucks up and makes the brutal mistake in Game 7. Let me ask you, do you think there's some truth to what I'm getting there? And those are only 7 games in this millennium, but every single one of those, low event, low scoring, are we getting the same tonight?
I think we will. It's both teams have shown that they can win those close games. And Edmonton have done it in Game 7 against Vancouver. They've done it before. And I don't think either team is afraid to play that lockdown type of game. I think how we'll find out if we have that type of game will be the first 7 minutes right before the first commercial break. That will be the way that you know if we're going to have an absolute barn burner goaltender battle or if we're going to be having a Bobrovsky, Skinner, stinker and just an absolute goal fest. So I think there is some truth to it, but with the history of these 2 teams, I don't think it's absolutely a thing that'll happen.
I apologize if you constantly see me looking off screen, giving a salute. Captain Felton walks by, boys. You got to give the man a proper salute. He's a captain. Whoa, sorry. Excuse me there.
Salute.
I'm nervous. That's the nausea. That's the almost
swallowed
puke.
one down there.
That's almost puke coming up. Coombsy, do you think it'll be low events, low scoring as well? Because the last 4 games in the series have all gone over. The Oilers have scored 5 or more in each of those last 3 games. So do you think offense pulls through like it has, or is tonight going to be low event?
No, the Oilers have locked things down really well recently, and it feels like Florida's going to turn their ship around and lock it down better as well because, like you just said, there was those last few games the Oilers popped off on Florida, and they're going to want to have a better defensive effort. I think Bobrovsky's going to come forward with a better performance tonight than what we've seen from him in the past few games. And also remember last spring, when the Vegas Golden Knights clinched their Stanley Cup in Game 5. They won by a score of 9-3. I don't think Florida, if they're going to lose, they're not going to go out again losing a game where they allow 9 goals or something like that. So they're going to lock things up, and this is going to be a tight one, like a 2-1, 3-1 game.
I think so. And Bordzy's bankroll is definitely featuring the under tonight. I'll get into it later tonight on postgame. If something goes the way I want it to, I'm going to have the funniest bit to pull ever on the postgame tonight. I got so much shit lined up, but it's got to go the right way first. Scout is in the chat and says, I never watched the 06 run. Is it normal to be this nervous?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Sadistic Angel's in here and says, I believe. You guys missed this on ONE today.
I saw it.
I think we hooked up Sadistic Angel and Doug Waite, and I think they're going to hang out in Vancouver together. It's basically Tinder Nation over here for Oilers Nation. I loved every bit of it. Doug Waite, if you're in the chat, let me know. I will MC. I will be the what's the guy, the officiator.
Or
I will
Dane.
officiate that wedding if it needs to be done. I think it would only be the proper thing to do. While they have to wear Oilers jerseys as well. They absolutely have to wear Oilers jerseys. So we've seen some offense pull through lately in the series. Keep your eye on it tonight. We'll see what we get. I'm too nervous. So not only, though, would this be the greatest comeback in NHL history, dare I say the greatest comeback in sports history, the entire world is watching this one. I mentioned ESPN, SportsCenter. Jason Demers was on the Dan Patrick show today talking about the Edmonton Oilers. I could not believe that when I saw it on my feed through Twitter and everything. It was just an awesome thing to see. But this is about Connor McDavid and being Connor McJesus, being different than everybody else and leading your team from the impossible, back from the fucking dead, as the man has put it. No team has done it in nearly 80 years. But the Edmonton Oilers right now in this postseason, 7-0 in elimination games, 5-0 when facing it, 2-0 when able to eliminate the opponent. And if they win this, dude, they're eternal. Connor McDavid is eternal, legendary. I mentioned the Mount Rushmore. But where do you think this ranks in legendary status of not only the NHL, I think it's tops of the NHL. Am I crazy to say that this is the greatest comeback in sports?
No, I don't think so. I think.
Let me know in the chat if you're a little less biased than I am.
Because you take a look at the being down 3-0. That is what it is. But then you take a look at the Oilers season in general. They were down 2-9-1. We know this. They were 32nd in the league. We know this. They had to make a massive rise after firing their coach. Make game 16-game win streak, a 5-game win streak after 3 straight losses. You demolished the 1-3-1. You already had, oh my goodness, believe.
Read and weep.
That's what I'm getting at. You got to believe. This team has given you nothing but belief throughout the entire season, from going down in that early on in the season to being down 0-3 to being down 3-2 to being down what was this? 3-2 again, I think. No, 2-1, whatever it was against the Dallas Stars as well. This team has been able to give you everything to make you believe that they can do exactly what this is. And it's monumental, and nothing can get past what they had to overcome.
So on the flip side tonight, right, Florida Panthers, they're back on home ice. I could only imagine how painful that flight back to Florida was. Almost like someone dragged them there. Could that be Connor McDavid? But momentum is a crazy thing in sports, and especially the playoffs, right? Because they say momentum does not carry over from game to game. Obviously, that has not been the case in this series. I think anyone with a pulse on anything could feel the tide turning and the Edmonton Oilers gaining the advantage right now. Do you think that momentum can still get rolling, Coombsy, right now in this? Because it's do or die. It's one game. I know they've got 3 in a row. I hate what I'm about to say, but I don't think there's momentum going into this. This is just straight up duke it out on the ice. Nothing that has happened up to this point matters. This is one game, do or die. I don't think there's momentum.
No, it ultimately comes down to which players and which team is able to handle the pressure in the big moments more. At the beginning of the day and the beginning of the game, it's going to be a fresh slate to some extent. I mean, I think Florida's at a bit of a disadvantage having to make that flight back from Edmonton. You had probably, in Game 5 in Florida, they probably had the expectation that they were going to host the Stanley Cup. They had a bunch of fans, friends, and family there with tickets all ready to take their photos. And then, of course, they had to make the long flight back to Edmonton, and it's another lopsided win for the Oilers. They got to fly back again, whereas when you're on Edmonton's plane, you're sitting there, you're talking about the win. It's fun. Like, you're
play Mario
enjoying
Kart.
it. Exactly. You're enjoying yourself. Or if you're Florida, what are you talking about? You're talking about how you're now suddenly in one of the worst spots ever for a team in hockey. You're suddenly on the verge of becoming the answer to a trivia question. And I mean, this is a franchise, the Florida Panthers, who, they came into the league in 1993, went to the Cup Finals really quickly, and then saw no playoff success for 2 whole decades. And now all of a sudden, new ownership, new GM, they've become one of the better teams in the league. And this is a chance for them to validate themselves as an elite franchise. And they go up 3-0, 3 different chances to win the Stanley Cup. Imagine getting on the flight after each and every single one of those games, not having to do it once or twice, but 3 times. It's going to be really hard to get yourself up for this game. The Oilers are coming to this with the emotional advantage, and they absolutely have to capture it.
Do you think there's some to the momentum? Can the Oilers still have it? Where do you come out on that kind of debate?
I do, because the biggest thing for me after game 6 was we took a shot of that bench. That bench was dead.
Yeah.
It was dead. You took a look at Maurice, who was giving it to his team. It was not good. Zito doesn't look good. You talk about how the attitude was, and it was probably horrendous with everybody's attitude on the bench. And the other thing, too, is that I think with the momentum side, it's not only momentum for Edmonton being able to sit there and say, oh, we've done it 3 times in a row, but now you're in that spot where it's just one game. It's not, okay, now we have to win this game, and now then we worry about the next game after. There's one game now. You have already won everything you possibly can. You are doing it with the 2 best players in the world, and you want to do it for those 2 best players in the world as well. You want to be a part of that history. You want to be a part of that whole legacy as well. And take a look at how we love our legends from those 80s teams. Lee Fogelin.
They still don't pay for beers. It's been 30 years later, dude.
Exactly. And all the way down to guys who are 4th liners and who are still legends in this city. That can be what this team is. Adam Henrique, Matthias Janmark, Connor Brown, those guys can be those eternals here in Edmonton, not only in hockey history, but here in Edmonton. And they realize that. They see it around this place. They see how Edmonton respects their alumni as well. They want to do it.
It's insane with the alumni, right? We had Rafi Torres on the show today. We've had Fernando Pisani on. And I think the chat reacts more to those guys, those legends, than current NHL players still in the league, because they have such a special spot in our hearts and everything that we've seen them go through. I like that point of Janmark, Brownie becoming Edmonton legends, getting free beers for the rest of their lives. Talking about momentum, it has been kind of funny to watch as this has gone along, because in my eyes, I've seen Florida just lose battle after battle after battle, and that's kind of what playoff hockey is all about. They've lost wall battles, space battles, puck battles, the goaltending battle, the special teams battle throughout all of this, and they're going to have to find a way to dig deep. One thing I want to talk about, which I really do think has been the TSN turning point of this entire series. So the Oilers have adjusted well all season long, all playoffs long. We've all noted how well they do after a couple of games, 1-3, 4-7. They adjust, they kick ass, they find a way to beat the goaltenders. But right now, the key to the series, my key to victory, was dealing with that aggressive Florida forecheck and how they come and the trouble that it creates for Edmonton defensemen to cleanly break the puck out. Games 1-3, Oil D-men were having fits back there, and give Florida credit. They're big, they're mean, they're strong, and they come in flying. But it felt like the Oil D-men completely struggled with that pressure. Since Game 4, though, the Oilers have had massive improvement in that area, and it's a 2-pronged effect. With the solid breakout, it makes the Florida forecheck a non-factor, and they do it by moving the puck incredibly fast. You'll see it now. They're using the far side winger to leave the zone. Florida likes to use their D-men forward to push them deep. You've seen clips, D-men all the way Forsling down by the hash marks, and you'll see a Janmark far side winger start to leave the zone, which then makes the D-men have to leave the zone. Easier for Oilers to break the puck out, or on the Rico goal, D-men goes in deep, pinches, Janmark is all the way down the ice. What do you know? It's a 2-on-1, just like that. We've seen them flip pucks out of the zone for Warren Foegele. Go chase it down. Sets up Connor McDavid. I love how Nobby's adjusted with that being the biggest weakness. And somehow right now, Coombsy, he's turned it into a strength.
Yeah, that's something the Oilers have done really well this year, and that's something Chris Knoblauch has done. It's been one of the biggest strengths of the team ever since he took over in mid-November, which is that the team can make adjustments on the fly. I'm not talking about making an adjustment in the second period of a game where you think, oh, they had a slow start and they got to come out and do something completely different. It's a strategic difference. And I mean, you'll think in the middle of the few winning streaks they had this year, there were a couple of different 3-game lulls. There was one where after Woodcroft was fired and Knoblauch came in, they had a couple of wins. And then there was the 3-game lull, and then they go on the 8-game winning streak. It was the same thing before the 16-game winning streak. They had a quick lull before that one as well, and then they had some lulls right before the playoffs. And when they come out of those lulls, it's not just because, oh yeah, everyone started trying again, everyone's become interested in hockey and winning. It's because the coaching staff has gone and assessed what's going wrong with this team right now in terms of, watching their video and watching their plays, watching their strategies and watching what they have to do. And that's what they've done. In each series they played against LA, they didn't have to do a comeback. They know how to beat the Kings, and they've done it before. Against Vancouver, the Canucks looked like the better team earlier in the series, and the Oilers came back after they changed their strategy. Dallas was the same thing too. It looked like a couple of different versions of the Oilers during that series. And against Florida, it's completely split down the middle. They've figured out this solution by sending the high forward, and the Panthers have nothing. They can't do anything.
I don't know how you adjust to that. I don't know what you do.
Put a guy back, and then you
their
change your whole
identity
strategy.
is their tough forecheck,
Yeah.
and it is that. It's built on that. I don't see them changing that strategy. Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals, right, Brett?
No, and it may be altered in certain ways.
Yeah.
I don't see it. You got to go with what works, and the only way I say it'll be altered is because they're going to also adjust to it as well. Right? So, yes and no. I think you'll see very similar plays to it. I think certain things will also be added to it, but no.
Odd man rushes in the first 3 games were 22-16 for the Panthers. They had 4 off the rush goals compared to Edmonton's 2. Since game 4, odd man rush chances 20-6 for the Edmonton Oilers. The goal differential off those rushes 7-0. The Oilers play best with speed. They are a quick team. It's built on offensive talent, and that's what it's going to continue to get there. And hey, when I keep talking out loud, that makes me think the over is going to hit, but I think it's how Florida's going to adjust, and we'll see this throughout. I just mentioned that to me was the TSN turning point of the series. To me, what do you guys think it was? I heard some debates earlier in the chat. Some people thought the third period of game 3, couple weak goals on Bobrovsky that kind of broke through. Let me ask you, Coombsy, do you think there was one specific TSN turning point of this series?
I don't know if it's a specific TSN turning point as it was, because I mean,
No pre-shoutouts.
I don't think Florida went ahead and dominated the first 3 games of the series. When they were winning 3-0, it wasn't, oh yeah, Florida was beating the wheels off of the Oilers and everything shifted. It was the Oilers were better in game 1 and should have won, but Bobrovsky stole them a game. Florida was better in game 2, so they should have split those 2 games. And then game 3, it was 6, 7, 8 bad minutes that did the Oilers in, but ultimately that game's a coin flip too. The teams played reasonably similar, so it's not so much a turning point as it is. I mean, even in the 3 games that Florida won, you can only really look at one of them and think, oh yeah, you absolutely should have won that
Game
one.
2, that's it.
Game 2 is the only one where you look at it and you say that they outplayed the Oilers in this game, no doubt. And I mean, I think that's why there wasn't necessarily really a turning point. It's just the Oilers have steadily improved their game after game 2. It was a great game 1, a terrible game 2, a mediocre game 3, and they've steadily improved.
For me, it's I like that one from Statistic Angel too, the save in game 4. But for me, it's not only the shellacking in game 4, but it's the pulling of Sergei Bobrovsky. And it's one thing to get pulled at home, and it is what it is. You bounce back and move on to the other one.
He's been pulled before.
100%. But with how ruthless the Oilers fans were in game 4 and onwards afterwards, that is something you could see it on the bench after you got pulled. He
looked like he was going to cry.
100%. I don't know what people were saying. Oh, he's laughing. He was not laughing. That was an emotional moment that I think really twisted the tide for Edmonton's offense and Bobrovsky's confidence.
I like this from Jonathan Kelly. He said, "You're doing a good job, boys, keeping me distracted for the next while." Gentlemen, we've officially killed 30 minutes until puck drop. Let's go. Let's keep it going. The nerves. Stop. We got to keep it going. So Calm Racing, sick name. Greta is bumping. Everybody get down here. I see Bo was literally right in front of us. He's down here. He says we made it. Let's go. Sean Horkoff, as I always call him. I know it's not, but it's Sean H. Says, let's go, baby. Sadistic Angel, 1 hour to go. One thing I do want to talk about that, why did this have to happen? Ryan Nugent-Hopkins didn't skate at yesterday's practice. Didn't see a lot of information about it online. Was watching, damn it, I'm going to shut TSN. And I saw Ryan Rashad say that he knew it was under the weather. We got Let's Go Oilers chants breaking out. Sorry, people, if you can hear us. But you know what? I'm not sorry. I'm not apologizing because you should be down here. Enjoy. Yeah, it is. Absolutely. But Nuge doesn't skate yesterday. Kane skated in his place on the top line with McDavid and Zach Hyman. This is fucking incredible right now. What's going on? My first one to you, Coom. Why does my boy have to be sick before the biggest game of his life? 2, are you worried about Nuge's health? I'm not.
I mean, it's just life can never be easy. That's just the way it goes. I mean, Florida was missing Sergei Bobrovsky in their practice. They've been missing Aaron Ekblad for a few other practices throughout the series as well. These are just the things that happen. You have to go on the airplane and go back and forth a few times, playing a lot of hockey in a short period of time. And I mean, can't always expect everyone to be available to do every morning skate, morning practice, this and that. But I would imagine even if he's feeling a little under the weather, they'll give him a cortisone shot or something like that, and he'll feel just fine for the game.
Damn right. Shoot him up, baby.
Just flu game.
Exactly. Michael Jordan had no problem when he had the flu. It was all good.
This happens to be in Game 7. Fine.
Well,
Oh my God, I got to change Bortzy's bankroll for a Nuge anytime goal now.
Yeah.
This is his flu game.
Yeah.
it was 13 years ago he was selected on this day. For his
Making me
first
more
overall.
nervous. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely
13
right.
years ago to the day. Doesn't that seem like yesterday?
I remember where I was. I had a ball hockey game, and later on we drafted Oscar Clutchball. 19th overall.
Pat, do we have the tweets? Yeah, there it is. I'm going to put it up. I'm doing it. 11 years ago tonight, Connor McDavid tweeted, always cool watching the Stanley Cup presented, but at the same time makes me so jealous. You're not going to be jealous tonight, baby, because that's coming back to Alberta. We're dragging the cup back to Alberta. Please can we win it? Because we got some sick merch shirt ideas as well. If we could successfully win this cup, Oilers Nation every day might even have a different look to it tomorrow as well. But the job's not finished, damn it. We got to get through Game 7. Look at the face paint on those people right in front of us right now. That is hardcore, man. That is absolutely hardcore. Let me get the plug in right now. The playoffs are here. They're about to be over, but it's still time to oil up. Go to nationgear.ca. You can get one of these bad boys. They come in blue, black, white. We've even got snapback hats. Get a boosh bomb while you're there. That's the varsity collection, which is still there, right? Hope will never die. Get one of those Hope will never die t-shirts. Get a Year of Nuge t-shirt. Whatever you do, spend money at nationgear.ca.
Yeah.
Because we all got to play our parts in this run as well. Now, let's move to our need to know info, courtesy of Wilhauk Beef Jerky, because only the finest tasting meat products earn that Wilhauk name, made from 100% pure Alberta beef. Their jerky is aged, seasoned, marinated, and smoked to savory perfection. They gladly fill orders of any size. You can find their jerky, sausage, and other products exclusively out of their Leduc, Spruce Grove, and West Edmonton Mall kiosk locations. Should have brought some Wilhauk with me. Also, shout out to the Greta servers and staff.
Killing it.
Man, the last
On
game
fire.
too, and to do this, I was talking to the manager. He said every available person we have in the city, every employee is working tonight. We are going balls to the wall. So if you are here, make sure to tip them. You make sure to treat them properly. They don't get an Oilers game night. They spend theirs taking care of us. So big shout out to them. All right, game notes for the Oil and just in general. This will be the 18th Game 7 in the Stanley Cup Finals history. Home team is 12-5. However, the last 3 were won by the road team. Washington 2019, Boston 2011, Pittsburgh 2009. This is the 3rd time in NHL history a Game 7 will be played after one team trailed 3-0 in that series. We all know 1942 Maple Leafs were successful in doing it. The 1945 Red Wings forced a Game 7, but unfortunately did lose that one. And nobody ever talks about the 1945 Red Wings.
I don't think anyone talked about the 1942 Maple
I think Nick Alberga does every single day.
Well,
of
there's a
life.
whole different context to that. Is that Detroit had both teams had players leaving for
Yep,
World
for
War
war.
II at that time. It was really quite different.
So, what's wrong with that?
What kind of excuse is that,
Can you
man?
imagine
Yeah.
if half the Florida Panthers got drafted to go fight in the war right before this game?
That'd be awesome.
So,
That'd be unbelievable. Edmonton, though, can become the first team in NHL history to overcome a 3-0 deficit and win the cup on the road. Also, I mentioned it to you guys just because I think it's going to be a low event, low style game. I could so see this going to overtime. Maybe that's the scars that are on my brain and on my heart. I just see this one being an excruciatingly stressful hockey game to watch, but that has only happened overtime in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final twice. Apparently it happened in 1950, 1954. Shout out Detroit Red Wings. Won both of those games. Connor McDavid needs 1 point to tie Wayne Gretzky for 3rd most points in a playoff year. But if he records 2 points, he'll tie Mario for 2nd with 44. Might need a 5-point night to tie Wayne Gretzky for 47 most all time. 5-point night from Connor, Brett?
easy.
Grimsy?
BORDZY's bankroll.
Holy shit. What would the juice be on that one?
Way too much.
You think Connor McDavid, though, legendary performance tonight? I'm not. 5 points. That's nuts. But we did see him have back-to-back 4-point nights. Didn't take off game 6, but he didn't have a point. He didn't have a shot. The team still won. If you're telling me that Connor McDavid has a game with no points and no shots, the likelihood of him doing that back-to-back games, that's next to zero.
Yeah, the Oilers pretty much always, that was sort of the theme, is if Connor McDavid gets shut down in the game, then he's going to come back and have a huge game. And this was the first time during the Connor McDavid era in his 9 seasons that he's played in the league that he's had a game in which he didn't register a point or a shot on goal, and the Oilers won. And for that first game to come in game 6 of the Stanley Cup final, for that to happen, I mean, it's a perfect game for the Oilers to play, because for so long the narrative was this team holds Connor McDavid back. He's unhappy in Edmonton. They need to trade him. He needs to leave, blah, 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 this and that. And the team has showed otherwise during the course of this playoffs. They've received contributions from everywhere up and down the lineup, and that's what it was in game 6. They got the first goal from Warren Foegele, and then that third line that's been so good clicked again. Stuart Skinner was excellent. The blue line was excellent. Zach Hyman scored a goal. Nothing from Connor McDavid offensively. I think if you shut down once, he's going to come back in game 7 and do something huge.
This is the legacy game. For me, this is an absolute legacy game. And for many people who are in legacy games, I think you can sit there and go, there's an obvious chance that they won't be able to perform. Connor McDavid is going to be able to perform tonight. Leon Draisaitl is going to be able to perform tonight. For me, there is next to no doubt that those 2 players are going to appear in tonight's game, which for me just, again, bumps it up for Edmonton. I'm so confident. I don't know what else to say in that respect. It's a foregone conclusion that they're going to show up.
I could be looking for a Leon Draisaitl legacy game as well. Yeah. He's only has 3 points, I believe 3 assists in the 6 games so far in this series. But you give me a multi-point effort tonight, all of that is forgotten, and you are hitting legendary status. For the Panthers side of the need-to-know info, cover your ears because I don't like this one. Paul Maurice is 4-0 in Game 7s as an NHL head coach. Guess what? Chris Knobloch's 1-0. Boom, baby. That's both twin 1.00 percentages. There you see it. The record for like Paul Maurice. That does look like a phone number. Let's call it. 6 teams, 26 seasons, 3rd Stanley Cup final, 11 playoff appearances. Cup final record, though, of 5-11. But that game 7 record, we're going to ignore that. We're going to look past that. We're going to have a 1 in that column later tonight. In the history of the NHL, NBA, and MLB, 407 teams have trailed a series 3-0. Only 5 have ever come back to win. NHL teams are 4-206. MLB teams are 1-39. NBA teams are 0-157. So clearly NHL, it's the most likely to do it. It's also the hardest trophy to win. So there's so many avenues you could go down with this. If the Oilers complete the comeback, it'll be historic. As I have mentioned, another note for the Panthers, I do believe Kyle Okposo is returning to their lineup on the 4th line, replacing Nick Cousins. Jason Demers was quick to point out that Kyle Okposo loves to take minor penalties in the limited amount of ice time that he's out there. You take out Nick Cousins, who people were a little talkative about it, a little worried before the game. I get it, because there's 2 days between. You got to find something to talk about. Nick Cousins was not a factor in that hockey game. Anyone thinking that he would be a factor in trying to hurt Connor McDavid or anything like that, well, and I said he's going to have to catch him before then. Tonight it's Kyle Okposo. What do you think about that? It's a veteran. This might be his very last kick at the can tonight, but I see him taking a minor penalty in my future.
Yeah, I mean, this is somebody who hasn't exactly had too many kicks at the can. He was drafted by the New York Islanders and then signed in free agency with the Buffalo Sabres. And, I mean, those are 2 franchises that don't see a tremendous amount of success. So Kyle Okposo gets traded this year at the trade deadline at the Florida Panthers. He's supposed to be one of those, grizzled veterans they have in the lineup who can drink black coffee and tell war stories and this and that. But at the end of the day, this is a guy who, even at his best, he wasn't that fast of a skater. He was a pretty slow skater. So now that he's in his late 30s, he's really quite slow. So Florida's called Paul Maurice. I understand what he's doing. He's going for, all right, we got the veteran here. Let's give him a chance to have this huge moment. But this is a guy, Father Time's caught up to him, and I have a hard time imagining Kyle Okposo making an impact, but knock on wood, because I feel like I just was a little bit too hard on him, and now what would happen. is he's
Dude,
gonna score
I've
a
been up
goal.
for jinxes all season long. We got to talk. We got to fill 90 minutes of airtime. I also love that you said he drinks black coffee
Really
and
drinks
tells
black coffee?
horror stories. That's absolutely hilarious. And it's insane behind here. Brett, I'm going to trade you out for our one pal, Zach Lang. Any final words to the people?
Best
You guys got
wishes.
blowing kisses right now. It's absolutely unreal. Final words to the people.
This is what we've been waiting for. Listen to this. My dad gets emotional about two things: my university graduation and me experiencing the Edmonton Oilers winning the Stanley Cup. Tonight could be a night that not only fulfilled a dream for my family, but for everybody in this bar and everybody watching at home. Enjoy tonight. Enjoy the ride. Let's go Oilers.
Let's fucking ride, brother. I love you. All right, let's get into it now. Sherwood Ford Giants storyline brought to you by Sherwood Ford, the Giants, because they are the Giant for a reason. Home of the Giant Advantage and Dealer Raiders, Alberta Ford Store of the Year award for customer satisfaction. With a selection of new and used vehicles, it's the best place to find, finance, and service a Ford vehicle in Edmonton and Sherwood Park. Here you'll find Giant deals and a giant array of services and parts too. Whether you prefer shopping online or in-store, they tailor the shopping experience to you from people who really care. Sherwood Ford, the Giant for a reason. Your buddy really wants to be on the show.
He used to work here. He was one of our old ad sales guys.
That was fantastic. We got Zach Lang joining us right now, writer, news director of Oilers Nation. Zach, first, shake my goddamn hand. How you feeling right now? Some sweaty palms, knees weak, arms are heavy, I bet.
Mom spaghetti.
I am. I'm holding it together right now. We're a little bit away from puck
Get
drop
some
still.
fan on you.
I'm very sweaty. I have sweat dripping down my hair right now, but the beers are flowing. The vibes are impeccable down here. I don't know how the hell anybody is going to have any room in this place tonight because it is already slammed.
How am I supposed to walk around here with the microphone?
It is going to be. It's slammed.
I'm going
here.
on your shoulders tonight, and you're just going to take me around.
I got
Oh my
you.
God,
On
let's do that. Oh
on
my
my
God,
back.
let's do that.
On my back, Bordsy.
That would be unreal. Vibe check right now. You've been around the bar here. I gotta get my phone hooked up here so I can give it to Kennedy to tour around. This is madness behind the camera.
It's impeccable. I mean, I got down here about 4:30 at the time we went live, and it was starting to trickle in, and now it is absolutely floored here, man. There is very little space to operate in this place right now, but it's incredible to see, man. This is a really, really special night that we have coming up here.
Possibly the most legendary night of our lifetimes, I think for sure. 2016 go the way I wanted. All right, my Sherwood Ford Giant storyline this evening. The last Giant storyline of the season. Look at Gino right now. Oh my God, that's a fresh suit.
Oh, look at good.
Oh my, orange tie, whatever that thing goes in your pocket. Forget what that's called. He's got the
pocket
astronauts
square.
pocket square. Can't believe I blanked on that. But my storyline tonight, empty the tank. There is no tomorrow. Some players never get to this spot in their entire careers. Some guys get here very young, first year, rookie year, and never find a way to get back. You never know when you'll be back, if you'll be back. So tonight, you empty that tank. You want to have a performance that you're going to look back on for the rest of your career. We talked to Fernando. We talked to Rafi Torres. We've talked to Chris Pronger. They remember every bit, every minute, every shift of that Game 7. And you want to be able to look in the mirror at the conclusion of tonight and say, I gave it my all. I emptied the tank, and I left it all out there on the ice. If every single player on the Oilers does that tonight, I find it very hard to not see them raising a Lord Stanley at the conclusion of tonight's game. Boys, I'll start with you, Zach. What's your Sherwood Ford Giant storyline? What up, Bo?
For me, it's going to be who's going to bring the magic tonight. I mean, we know what Cody Cece's done in Game 7s in the past. He's played in 2 of them for the Edmonton Oilers. He's got 2 goals. This is the guy who's shown up in some of the biggest moments for this team over the last number of years. Will he score a goal? I'd be curious to know what the odds are on that because I'm tempted to lay a couple bucks there. But for me, I'm very curious to see, who's going to step up with a really big game. I mean, I'm expecting Connor McDavid magic tonight. I think he's going to have an incredible game. I think another big storyline coming into this one too is that, a lot of the star players are rested guys, right? You take a look at that Game 6, guys like McDavid and Draisaitl, they only played 17, 18, 19 minutes in that game. So they're going to have fresh legs. And I think that's really going to help the team here.
Sorry, I'm getting my phone hooked up so I can give this around to someone to go walk around. Hey, Liam, you want to take this and go give me a bar walk?
Perfect timing.
There you go. Turn it around. Walk around the bar. All right, big shouts out to Liam Orban. Pat, you want to put that on the screen right now? There it is. Around, make sure he's muted. There's Wazinho.
Don't take it into the bathroom.
We got
please.
Peyton. No, take it all the way into the bathroom. So we've still got 44 minutes until game time. How am I going to walk around with the microphone through all of this? This is what you get. I probably should have wiped my camera before that as well. Looks a little fuzzy. Look at jerseys all over the place tonight.
Somebody's
jersey.
lost.
Somebody's wearing a
lost.
Habs jersey right now. That makes no sense. I mean, respect, I guess.
He's here to cheer on Vinny Desharnais.
Oh,
You're on David Desharnais.
David Desharnais.
look at this bar. This is absolutely incredible. People, make your way down to Greta Barrieg. I'll do that at the end. I'll do that at the end of the show. Man, this is madness right now. This is
Let's
every
throw
bit
some
you're
in
going to
there.
get. We'll throw some in there. So there's a look at Greta Barrieg right now. It's standing room only, but we are maxing this place out. Somebody in the chat today asked, they go, does Greta have a fire capacity? Said that's above my pay grade. I don't know that, but I'm going to continue to let everybody in that I possibly can. All right, Pat, big shout out to that. He's coming back now. Shout out Liam. That was a lovely, lovely little time right there. Let's get into now the Edmonton Oilers lineup report. I said it's brought to you by Sherwood Ford the Giant. Pat, just pull it right up for me. We already got our ad read in. This is the projected lineup this evening. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins with Connor McDavid and Zach Hyman. Then it's Warren Fogle with Leon Draisaitl and Dylan Holloway. Matthias Janmark with Adam Henrique and Connor Brown. Then it's Ryan McLeod with Derek Ryan and Corey Perry. Noah Vanderkane, we'll touch on that in just a moment, or we so suspect. Deep pairing stay the same. Ekholm with Bush, Nurse with Broberg, Kulak with one Cody Ceci. We mentioned it off the top how Nuge, under the weather. Evander Kane skated in a spot. We do not expect Evander Kane to be playing on the top line tonight. I don't expect him to play at all. Zach, I'll start with you. Kind of sucks for Kaner. He's an NHL veteran this far into his career, a guy that I just mentioned. You never know when you're going to get here. If you'll ever get here, finally gets here, and he's too banged up to be in the starting lineup. Talk about it with me. I understand the move. I don't want him in there playing fourth line. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I would also argue it's definitely not broke right now. It is more put together than it has been. Thoughts on Kaner and how shitty that is for him. Try and talk over the screaming.
Yeah, good luck with that. I don't know if anybody can even freaking hear me right now, but holy shit, this is absolutely slammed. For me, you got to feel bad for Kane on a personal level, but you know what? At the end of the day, BORDZY, he's been a good contributor to this team for a number of years now, and he's a guy who's going to get a ring if the Oilers win. His name will be on the cup. I think he hits all the requirements for that. So, at this time of year, you got to be a team player, right? You could sit here and say the same thing about a guy like Vinny Desharnais, right? Somebody who's fought so hard to get to this point in his NHL career, and he's been bumped out of the lineup for Philip Broberg just from purely the standpoint of a better fit in the lineup in Philip Broberg right now. But you know what? At the end of the day, if the Oilers win it all tonight and they do what they want to do here, I don't think any of those guys are going to be complaining about whether or not they played in that Game 7 or not.
I think there's a factor if you want to be on the ice, you want to be in that photo with your full equipment. Maybe he'll still wear the full equipment. Sometimes guys do that so they fit in the photo and look a little bit better. Thoughts on Kaner and how much this must suck for the guy? He's battled hard all postseason. We knew he had the sports hernia to start the playoffs. It's now been 60-plus days of trying to battle through. I'm sure they've been trying to shoot him up before games, after games. It doesn't happen. That sucks for Kaner, but I think it's the right move. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, brother.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to go and look at the group you've had win 3 consecutive games in the Stanley Cup final down 3-0, and to go ahead and think, all right, Game 7, let's make a change. It's just, there's no way that's going to happen. We talked about this a few days ago ahead of Game 6 when Evander Kane was skating with the main group ahead of that game on Friday for the Oilers, and we were kind of going up and down the lineup. It's like, would you wind up taking out Derek Ryan? And you're like, then who's going to go and take penalty kill faceoffs for your top unit? Like Derek Ryan's the one who takes the faceoff on the PK and then goes off the ice. So either Brown or Janmark can come on. Like that's an important role. And I mean, obviously, Evander Kane can be a huge difference maker for the Oilers in the game, but he's also not at 100%, so he might not be a difference maker. And to take the risk of taking somebody who's fulfilling their function, doing the exact role they need to do pretty much perfectly. Like you see a guy like Derek Ryan, that fourth line. Yeah,
played it to a T.
Exactly. You're not a sexy line. It's not exciting, but they're doing their exact role they have to do, and there's no sense in changing anything now. You
need depth players to be strong throughout this. They're the guys that get you through the NHL playoffs. And in the last game, Connor McDavid did not record a point. He did not record a shot. The Oilers did it with depth, winning 5-1 in that one. And it's after the man put up back-to-back legendary 4-point performances, something that's never been done before. But the fact, brothers, that we are still alive in this series, and in Game 6, back against the wall, you didn't get a legendary Connor performance. You didn't get a legendary Leon performance. You haven't gotten a legendary Leon performance all series long. These are all good signs to me leading to tonight that I think Connor will be a guy to play out of his mind. But Leon Draisaitl, let's talk about him right now. He's clearly not been the same person dealing with a hand finger injury. I still think he's got a core or a rib or something going on, but he's been skating well, especially defensively. You see it right there on your screen. He had 31 points in 24 games leading into the series. Now he has 3 points in 6 games. Zach, we'll start with you. There's no way Leon Draisaitl isn't having a good performance tonight. I would bet, I don't got a lot of money, but I'd bet all the money I have that he's going to dig deep tonight, find a way to play through injury, and be a factor in this game tonight.
I don't disagree with you at all, Bordsy. I mean, this is a guy who's consistently shown up in the biggest of moments for the Edmonton Oilers for years and years and years. And yeah, you know what? He may be a little bit limited right now, but I thought in Game 6 he looked really good. He had that huge assist to Warren Fogle early on in that game.
That was the sickest saucer pass ever. When Fogle fell down, then got up, but still.
Well, in the word of Chumbawamba, but you get knocked down, you get back up again, right? So it was great to see, Fogle get out there and get that goal. It was a great pass from Draisaitl. I thought he looked good the rest of that game too, and I think having a little bit of rest from Game 6 is going to go a long way for him too. And again, Bordsy, like you said, leave it all out there on the ice. I mean, there's no tomorrow. There's no tomorrow. Tomorrow is next season. And tomorrow, the start of next season is training camp. So, I don't see anybody out there that's going to not give it anything less than 110%.
I know he's not fully healthy, but I mean this. If you gave me pick one player, give me a top 3 of players to pick that I want on my team, like a fantasy draft for Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals, for me, it probably goes McDavid, McKinnon, and Leon Draisaitl because of the playoff performer he's been, the point per game when facing elimination, every bit of that. He's a guy that proves that he can dig deep and find a way to play big in the biggest moments. Do you see Dry having that performance tonight?
Yeah, that's where I'm at too. It's one thing to be able to play through an injury, play through a struggle, and put up a huge game in Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final when you know that there's something else after that. But just like Zach said, your tomorrow now is you have an entire summer to think about what's going to go and happen today, what your performance looks like. You're going to think about it nonstop for the entirety of summer. Then you're going to come back into the preseason and training camp and do this whole thing. You're going to go and try and get off to that good start so you can win the division and then get through the 3 playoff rounds again and then get to this point where you're only 1 win away. And I think everyone's cognizant of that being the moment. Everyone's aware of the enormity. Everyone's aware of the situation that they're in. And I don't think, like Zach said the exact same thing. No one's going to sit there and put in a ho-hum effort tonight. I mean, yeah, maybe some players might get overwhelmed by the lights, but I just don't think it's going to be an effort thing.
I don't think it's going to be a Leon Draisaitl that gets overwhelmed.
Not. Of all the guys to not get over, it won't be a guy who gets overwhelmed.
No. And so you think of this team, it's been the whatever message across the NHL for the last several years. It's a 2-man unit. We had mentioned earlier there that people thought the Oilers were bringing down Connor McDavid. But in that last game, it was the depth. And we got to talk about him. That third line, Brown Mark featuring Rico, the hottest new band, the hottest new boy band you've ever seen. Those guys are playing incredibly well right now. There you look at the box score of the last game, and it was depth. Warren Fogle goal and assist, Rico goal. Ryan McLeod sure was an empty netter. Nurse was an empty netter. But that third line, they're starting periods with it, starting games with it, going to it in crunch time moments and at the end of the game. And it's crazy to see that Matthias Janmark and Connor Brown have become everybody's favorite 2 Oilers right now throughout this run, because you don't got me to tell you during the beginning of the season we were putting those boys through the ringer. Tyler was anti-Janmark. I wasn't necessarily anti-Brown. I was pro-Map. I like a good bit. I like a funny bit. But where they're at right now, it has been incredible. And it's the thing. Stars get you to the playoffs. Depth players like that get you through the playoffs.
Yeah, it's a really good point. I mean, I was very critical of Janmark and Brown at plenty of points throughout the season, and people have tried to come at me on Twitter this week about it, but the truth of the matter is those critiques were very well warranted. I mean, Connor Brown, yeah, he's coming back from the surgery, but he wasn't looking like an NHL player until really the trade deadline time when he started to kind of find his legs. Matthias Janmark, I mean, he was great last year, but he had some real long stretches this year where he was not doing a whole lot out there on the ice. And it's just great to see these guys stepping up in a moment like this, because this is what this team has needed. They have needed some guys to step up in these playoffs, right? Obviously, you cannot solely rely on your top six. And for the Oilers, I think it's been a huge storyline, the contributions that they've got from their depth guys on this roster.
I got one for you. So game sevens, I feel like they tend to have unlikely heroes, and especially they always hit the under. But I went back and I looked through game 7, 2004, Ruslan Fedotenko scored 2 goals. 2009, Max Talbot scored 2 goals in that one. Justin Williams has made a fucking career off of being Mr. Game 7 and not a guy that you think of as an elite player in this league. Oilers depth, holy shit, that's a lot of honking and a lot of horns going on outside. Depth has been crucial in this playoff run. Give me tonight, prediction, unsung hero, whatever you want to say. Who's going to be the Fedotenko, the Justin Williams, who'd I say, Max Talbot? I'll start with you, Coombsy. Who's going to be that player tonight?
That's an interesting one. I think it's going to be somebody from that third line. I think it's going to be that Warren Fogle, Connor Brown. I'd really like to see Connor Brown have that moment, because he was the punching bag this year. He was the guy.
We'll bring the map back
where we had, and I'll steal a quote from Paul Maurice. We will get the CIA in here to figure out how the Oilers can trade that performance bonus cap hit next year. If there's a way that we can pawn that thing off on somebody else, we'll pretend this never happened. And look at this. It's all turned around. Connor Brown looked like he was going to be Toby Reeder. He looked like he was going to go the whole season without scoring a goal. And then in the playoffs, all of a sudden, he's this master penalty killer, amazing forechecker, and he's scoring clutch goals. A huge goal in the Stanley Cup final to open the scoring in one of the games during the comeback. I think it's going to be one of those two guys from that line, either Janmark or Brown, and I'm going to go with Brown as my prediction.
It's hard to argue with that. I mean, you make a
No, he took it. You got to give me someone new.
No, I know. Don't worry, I will. But one thing I will say about Connor Brown, and this is something that Frank Saravalli said this last week, but I was wondering if he feels he owes it to the team to re-sign on a cheap deal because of that performance bonus that he's got stuck into that contract this year, right? For me, I'm going to stick with it. I wrote about it yesterday on Oilersnation.com. Cody Ceci, Mr. Game 7. He's got 2 goals in the 2 Game 7s he's played in with the Oilers. Sign me up. I'd fucking love to see Cody Ceci bury one tonight. A huge goal. Open the game winner. I don't care when the hell it comes. Sign me up for a Ceci goal.
It's going to come from the right side, right? Because I think he scores all his Game 7 winners or goals from over there.
Weird shot from the point that he only gets 60% of. It's going to bang
knuckle puck that flies in.
Give me a knuckle puck tonight, Cody Ceci.
Gross goal, but give me that Ceci anytime.
I looked on Betway. They're not even offering a Cody Ceci anytime goal. But I looked earlier today because I had exact same thought as you, Zachary. A couple minutes here, Cam. I'm going to trade you out for one Liam Horban because he's hanging out. Look at his hair in the wind right now. It
looks so English.
Luscious locks right there. But, Zach, one thing we talked about, it's been my turnaround this series, how the Oilers have dealt with the aggressive Florida forecheck. And right now it's kind of sending a winger out of the zone high, making a D-man have to stick with him. It's led to a 2-on-1 Janmark Rico goal. We saw Warren Fogle chase down a puck for Connor McDavid. Got him that. What do you think about the coaching adjustment throughout the series? I said it earlier in better detail, but I thought that was Florida's biggest strength. Their aggressive forecheck and their everything. And somehow Nobby has completely flipped it upside down and used their biggest strength as now his biggest strength to kind of fight back and immediately go up the ice. The rush chances and rush goals, 20-6 for the Oilers chances since game 4, 7-0 goal differential off the rush since game 4. It's been a huge turnaround.
Yeah, it absolutely has. And I was going to write about this today, but I was kind of too anxious. And I actually just kind of forgot. I've kind of been a little bit lost all day. But I think, even their adjustments in this series, they've been tremendous, right? They've countered that forecheck. They've done a really, really good job at taking advantage of the Panthers' aggression, which is something that no other team in the playoffs had done so far. But here's the stat for you, Bordsy, that stands out to me. The Oilers in games 1-3 in the playoffs so far have a 4-8 record and are 39-43 in goals scored to goal against for a 47.6 goals percentage in all situations. In games 4-7 in any of the playoffs so far leading into tonight, 11-1, outscoring the opposition 46-20 for 69.7 percent goal share. Way this team has adjusted, the way this coaching staff has adjusted all playoffs long has been significant. 11-1 in games 4-7 in these playoffs. It is unbelievable the way they've been able to do so. I think that's the biggest reason for me why I have so much confidence as we want the cup, Chad, start to break out.
We want the cup. We want the cup. We want the cup. All right, Coonsy, I'm going to trade you out for one Liam Horban. Any final messages to the folks at home from the fourth longest member of Oilers Nation?
Remember to drink plenty of water and to enjoy this moment. Take a nice breath and soak this in. Enjoy it, because in 3 hours it'll be over and we'll look back on this many times and think those are moments that I'd like to relive again.
All right, big shout out to Coombsy. We love you. Let's go now. Boston Pizza around the NHL, because our playoff coverage is brought to you by BP's. We're doing some moving around. Liam, you go right there. Go around me. Cuddle through me. Because our playoff coverage is brought to you by our friends at BP's. It's been 30 years since Canadian team has won that Stanley Cup. What would it take for Canadian hockey fans to set aside their differences and team up for the win? Let me know, people. Where are you watching from? What city do you cheer for a different hockey team? And are you aboard the Edmonton Oilers bandwagon? We're now joined by everyone's favorite Englishman, Liam Horban.
Those are W's,
You got
people.
pitters in there? Sweat? How you feeling right now, vibe check?
I feel gutless.
You want the fan on you?
No, I'm actually cool as a
Okay,
cucumber
good. I want it
right
on
now.
me. Liam, vibe check. How we doing right now? This bar is insane.
Yeah, it was crazy. You know, I think you can envision what a sold-out bar would look like, but then once you get in it, it's like, holy smokes, there's so many people here trying to walk around, do that little, showing everyone the room. Was like, all right, there's some tight gaps coming here.
I can see you going through.
And then there's the one guy in the Montreal Canadiens jersey. What are we doing? Come on.
One thing we've talked about, we're getting a legendary Connor McDavid performance, obviously, right?
Yes. I think, there's players like Connor that don't come around very often, and these moments don't come around very often. But to me, the two collide tonight. Connor McDavid will take over this game, and if he hasn't already built his legacy, then this will be the one that cements it.
I said it's legendary status. He'll be on the Mount Rushmore of the NHL for sure. If he gets the win tonight, I still think he's on the Mount Rushmore regardless of what's going to happen. But a ring on the finger would be the way to do that. One guy I want to talk about as well, because if you followed pregame with BORDZY all season, you know who my favorite Edmonton Oilers is. It's Brett Kulak.
Yeah.
It's the local boy. It is Mr. Consistency. And shout out Frank Saravalli. Y'all call him an Oilers hater. Don't really understand that one. We had a great article he dropped today talking about Brett Kulak being the unsung hero of this team, and it's all the things he's done. He's the most consistent player we have. He's a playoff performer who elevates in the biggest moments. Mm-hmm. He's gone up to the second pairing, switched sides to play with one Darnell Nurse. He's gone on the third pairing, and it might be his greatest thing he's ever done. He's made Cody Ceci borderline good again, Zach.
Yeah, he has. He's been tremendous. I mean, Kulak, any position the Oilers have put him in the last number of years, he has done some amazing things for this team. Picked up a couple of years ago at the trade deadline for Montreal. He's fit in like a glove. He was a big part of, obviously, Vincent Desharnais, too, and helping him into the NHL and easing his, adjustment and that sort of stuff. And I love the defensive swap that we've seen here, getting Broberg up with Nurse. Yeah, okay, Broberg's playing on his offside, but, it's really helped settle Ceci's game down, too, and why, he's the guy that I think is due for a big one tonight.
I do think Cody Ceci needs credit for his own play, absolutely. But Brett Kulak, man, it's no secret. This is what he does. He takes other players, tends to make them better, takes a fair amount of the responsibility. And as I said, he's Mr. Consistency.
Yeah, he is. And I mean, we talk about this blue line a lot of just who's good, who's bad. Most of the time we try and find the bad in players. But it's very difficult to find the bad in what Brett Kulak brings to this team, because like Zach kind of ran through, he's been so many players he's made better, and he's the guy who's consistent every night. I'm thinking back, like, you look at the mistakes he's made, and they've been so rare to think of, but they're kind of fluke mistakes, right? The one against Dallas, I think it was game 1. He goes to pass the puck, it kind of breaks, stick breaks. The other one was against Dallas too. I think it was game 4, and that's the negatives, but he's on his offside, and your body's naturally moving a different way. He gets caught in the middle, but like, he's awesome. And, there was talk around the deadline of him being potentially traded away as a cap casualty. And I'm very grateful the Oilers saw the value in him as well.
I don't ever want Brett Kulak to leave.
No.
I can understand, and I do think maybe Philip Broberg playing that well could make him expendable. But guess what? That's offseason talk, and that starts tomorrow.
Yeah,
that ain't tonight, baby. Final one I got for you. and I kind of hate this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway, so I apologize in advance. Who has more pressure on them tonight? I really think in a game 7, there's no such thing as having more pressure because it's 3-3. You go to town. Obviously, Florida's dealing with being some of the biggest choke artists in sports history. You'll be at Matt Ryan, Atlanta Falcons level of choke artist, or do the Oilers have the pressure to complete what could be the greatest comeback of all time? I'll start with you. Who has more pressure?
I think the pressure's equal at this
Yeah,
point.
okay, I like that answer.
I mean, it's, you get to a game 7 like this, and it more or less kind of just becomes a bit of a toss-up. In saying that, I still lean towards, like, if I had to pick somebody gun to my head, it's the Panthers. They had a 3-0 lead in the series. I mean, they had a 3-0 lead in this series. Paul Maurice talked about it, in game ahead of game 4, about there being 2 energy sources going into that game, desperation and desire. Of course, desperation for the Edmonton Oilers, down 3-0 in the series. Desire for the Florida Panthers to close it out and hopefully win a Stanley Cup. I think that the Edmonton Oilers have shown not only do they have the desperation, but they got the goddamn desire too.
Yeah.
And we've seen it in the way that they've played these last number of games. It's unreal that we're even sitting here right now.
I like that point you made. What do you think?
I think Zach's a very smart man.
You're damn right he
What
is.
he just did was correct. It's very difficult to pick one side or the other in a scenario like this. At the end of the day, this is the 4th time now. The fourth time? Yes, the fourth time that the Florida Panthers will be playing to win the Stanley Cup tonight. So, when you really think about it, they shouldn't really feel much pressure anymore in the same breath because what do they have to lose now, to be honest? Obviously the Stanley Cup, but I just think these moments are, I don't know. I really don't know.
I think I hate it, so I apologize. I hated the question, but it had to be asked. I do think it's split even.
But it's a good question, though. I think it is, right? I mean, you get to a situation like this, right? The finals, they're a pressure cooker. The playoffs, they're pressure cookers.
Home ice, more pressure.
But you know what? It might not even feel like a home game for them tonight.
Oh, fuck. The videos from down in Florida right now are
crazy.
Unbelievable.
Producer Pat, who I haven't even mentioned his name yet, behind the scenes being an absolute stud. I believe it's a video of us, courtesy of DJ Bean, inside the arena. Hit it for him.
Oh, my goodness. Let's go, Oilers! Let's go, Oilers! Let's go,
Doesn't that just give you absolute goosebumps?
Stop shaking, Bordsy. Stop shaking so much. That is absolutely incredible. Big shouts out to Patrick Puff, the most handsome producer in the entire world. And I'm a producer, and I'm going to, nope, that's a fair statement. He is damn handsome. Let's move now to the starting goaltender report, brought to you by Sherwood Power Sports and Marine, your one-stop shop for everything you need, from fishing rods and reels, tackle and boat accessories, to motorcycle gear, water sports accessories, and e-bikes. You can find more at Sherwood Power Sports and Marine. There are different chants breaking out every 10 goddamn seconds in this bar right now. Oilers! Let's go, Oilers! I can't wait to break my vocal cords this evening. Man, you just got here right before. They were going at 3 p.m. inside this bar right now. Pat, let's pull it up, the tail of the tape between these two goaltenders in the Stanley Cup final, because, boys, read them and weep.
Yeah.
Stuart Skinner leads Sergei Bobrovsky in both major categories. He's got a 2.38 goals against average with a 909 save percentage. Say it again, a 909 save percentage. That is 0.09 above where we expect him to be. Sergei Bobrovsky got a 298 goals against with an 889. That man has fallen back to earth severely. Let's start with Stuart Skinner, because this man has been through the ringer this postseason and last postseason. I started the first episode of Pregaming against LA, round 1, game 1. I said there's no one who has more pressure on them in the Oilers locker room than Stuart Skinner. Well, he's been through it all, and he's come out the other side, and right now has those numbers in the biggest stage on planet Earth in the hockey world. Liam, if he is able to deliver an all-time performance night or a good enough one to get them the win, Stuart Skinner, once again, a guy who will never pay for a drink his entire life here in Edmonton. He's a local boy, just another incredible factor in this incredible Cinderella story run. Stuart Skinner has got potential to be a local boy who gets ringed at 25 years of age.
Yeah, I was gonna say you kind of took my argument away from me that
Sorry.
greatest Oiler. The only Oiler, the goaltender that's probably going to be better if the Oilers can win the Stanley Cup tonight is Grant Fuhr. Stuart Skinner's going to put himself on a pedestal that no other Oilers goaltender besides the one has been able to do for them. And
that's a good point.
He's 25 years old. That's the thing about this group is like, yes,
he's younger than us.
I know. He's this group, I believe, was the oldest team in the league. But a lot of their core pieces are so young, besides Ekholm, right? Like, besides him, and that's what excites me about this team. They can keep going and going and going, and Skinner is just going to get better and better and better. And I think when you look through this series and, go back until the Vancouver series, we're not seeing those crazy mistakes as consistently as we were before. And that's what gives me the belief that Skinner is the better goalie than Bobrovsky, which, by the way, I did say at the start of the series.
Fact. I heard the man. Liam Horban, Mr. Consistency. Pat, pull it up for me here. Zach, set you up with this one. Stuart Skinner, games 4-7 in these playoffs. 10-0, 1.50 goals against with a .940 save percentage. That is ridiculously good. Do you expect more of the same tonight from Stu?
Yeah, I think we can start calling Stuart Skinner the Iceman because he's got absolute ice in his veins. I mean, right in the veins. I mean, look at those numbers. It's absolutely incredible. So many people doubted him. So many people have written him off so many times throughout the season, throughout this playoffs, throughout the Stanley Cup Finals. And this is a guy who has continued to elevate his game. It's so impressive to see what he's doing. I think people tend to forget that Stuart Skinner is 25 years old.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
He's younger than us.
It's the mustache. It's the mustache.
He looks older than he is. But he's 25 years old and doing the things that he is doing right now. It's incredible. He is a very, 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 very good goaltender. Still finding his way in the NHL. Obviously, the last couple of years have been pretty difficult for him in a lot of ways. He's been thrust into a position last year he wasn't quite ready for or expecting for.
Boo, they're hitting the ice.
The Panthers are hitting the ice.
Was the shield FU?
Now the Oilers are hitting the ice. Now the Oilers are hitting the ice. People, get down to credit. I can't even hear myself talk when that's going on and everything. We talked about legendary legacy-like performances. Sergei Bobrovsky, he's at the end of his road here, and this might be one of the final kicks at the can for him.
Yeah.
This is the biggest game of his life, Liam.
Oh, I mean, especially how the 3 games prior have gone. And I think it's very interesting because Bobrovsky was obviously elite in the first 3 games, but it's just fallen off the cliff for him so much. And it's a product of him, probably, but it also shows how good the Panthers were maybe in front of him in the first 3 and how bad they've been too in the last 3. And I know momentum doesn't carry from game to game, but boy, oh boy, you have to imagine the Oilers are feeling pretty good right now going against Bobrovsky, and I think that's a wild.
That is the weirdest thing I've ever seen 2 goalies
Are
do.
you seeing that? But Stuart Skinner stood directly behind. Is that Stolar?
Yes.
That's Skinner's spot. He does that every game.
Yeah, he does.
Here's a non-Oilers thing for everybody here. Non-Oilers NHL news. Linus Ullmark to the Ottawa Senators, according to Sportsnet's Elliot Friedman.
I said that to you this morning.
That's a big
Yeah,
one
you
right
did.
there.
Crazy. I heard it's for Chikrin.
Anyways, back to your regularly scheduled program.
They can deal with
The
that.
one other thing I was going to say is, no, I forgot.
Rats.
Oh, the day off Bobrovsky. Frank said it today, that is unusual for that to happen, but that is a crazy thing to occur in the sense of the mental game of it.
That
And
tells me he's rattled, man.
that tells me he's gassed.
He is 35, something like that. I think he's 35 years old. Somebody correct me in the chat. Let me know. Let's move now to the Florida Panthers lineup, brought to you by Greta Baryag. I have to yell it to Pat to make sure he can hear me. Shout out, Greta. It's the spot to watch a game in Edmonton. It's obvious as hell right now. You might be at capacity right here in Greta. I'd still say come on down. You'll find a way to go. There's a couple gaps right there. Next to Waz, there's a couple inches right over there. Come on down. Everybody is family here at Greta Baryag. Maybe you can sit on the Mario Kart. Hey, maybe they accounted for those. There's chairs.
I don't know where I'm going to go.
Right here. You're probably going to
Is
sit here
this
the whole
where we're
time.
gonna go? I'm
going to be right there
you
in the
know-
shit with everybody in the mosh pit.
my friend Matt. Shout out Matt, a fellow Sherwood Parkian.
Nice.
I called him today just to see what he was up to for the game, and he said to me, he's like, before you ask me what you want to ask me, how does it feel that you guys, all of us, Oilers Nation, have been able to like cover this team and go into a Game 7, a Stanley Cup final? And I said to him, there's been moments along the way where it's like you kind of realize where you are and you appreciate it. But like I said,
I'm having one of those moments right now.
I know, that's what I said. I think tonight when I get downtown and I see everyone and like everything that's kind of going on, and you walk past people, nobody knows our names. Everyone just says Oilers Nation guy, which is hilarious. And now, yeah, did you pay those guys?
Those are my friends. Those are my friends.
They're all
We're
holding
chanting BORDZY,
$20
baby,
bills.
because it's the final pre-gaming with BORDZY of this entire season. Pat can't hear a word I'm saying.
No,
We gotta go back
Pat
to
is
the show.
Pat is in a crazy
I love
spot
you
right
all.
now.
I love you all. Pat, can you pull up the projected Florida Panthers lineup this evening? That's not good for my ego, because that's gonna make my head fucking explode tonight. Projected roster tonight: Carter Verhaeghe, Barkov, Reinhart, top line; Rodriguez, Bennett, Matthew Tkachuk, second line; E2, Luosterainen. Now they're chanting BORDZY sucks, so that's good.
Wow,
Get
what
my
a
head.
turn.
Gotta bring that head back. E2, Luosterainen with Anton Lundell and Vladimir Tarasenko; Ryan Lomberg with Kevin Stenlund and Kyle Okposo; Gustav Forsling with Aaron Ekblad; Nico Mikkola with Brandon Montour; and OEL, the new leader of the power play, the quarterback, with Dmitry Kulikov. Okay, one thing I want to talk about: Florida's struggling to score goals right now.
Yep.
And having that first goal get called off in the last game, you could see it on the bench. They looked incredibly deflated when that one was called back. Also, by an inch in your freeze frame things.
Yep.
I loved it, loved every bit of it. I am a believer of, if you have to zoom in and go like this into the screen, just let the goal count. But it was a big point for the Edmonton Oilers. That net move by Barkov was absolutely disgusting, absolutely nasty. I could have puked here at Greta Bar-Yeg. Matthew Tkachuk has seemingly woken up, but it's been lack of goal scoring lately right now that when the Oilers are playing the way they are, and I get Stuart Skinner's dialed in, Florida's big dogs have to show up tonight and have to produce offensively, or they're going to be in Matt Ryan status, I said.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I mean, you look at the goal they scored last game, it's taken magic to beat Stuart Skinner right now. I think it's fair to say in game 5, Matthew Tkachuk was fantastic and played a really, really good game, but we've not seen that consistent enough. Like game 2 was easily that best game of the series, but you look through and it's just like one star is showing up at a time, not enough is showing up for them consistently. And to be completely biased, I hope that continues tonight.
I love being completely biased. Zachary, big dogs for Florida. They need some big goals from that top 6. Sam Reinhart's a guy who scored 50-plus this season. He has not looked like a 50-plus goal scorer in this series.
Yeah, he has, and he's been one of the guys that's kind of been quiet. I mean, you can take a look at Evan Rodriguez. I think he had his 4 goals in the first 2 games of that series. He's gone quiet. Barkov, he's had his moments, sure.
He's one I'm not too concerned about.
No, but even still, I think his offense has been kind of limited, and the Oilers have done a really good job of limiting the top 6 offense for the Panthers as a whole. So, I think that they'll continue to be able to do so tonight. I think they've shown the ability to kind of shut these guys down to the point where the Oilers can come through, right? And I mean, if it means sawing off in the top 6 and then the Oilers' 3rd line or 4th line gets a goal for them, I mean, maybe that's what they need. Couple of lineup news here.
What do you got here for me?
Nothing out of the ordinary right now. For anybody who's been watching that's seen me glued to my phone for the last 15 minutes, Philip Broberg was initially listed in the scratches, and I didn't want to say anything because I thought it was kind of weird. It's been corrected. Broberg is listed as in the lineup.
Okay.
The scratches are, that's why I've been sitting here glued to my phone.
Don't
like,
do
what
that
the
to
hell
me.
is going on? Why is Phil Kemp in the starting lineup? So it looks like, woo, God damn.
Breathe. Breathe. Get a fan on you. Get some fan on you.
Get
Get some air on you. Get some air on you. This is the smartest decision I've ever made. Why did I wait till the last game of the playoff to do it? Hey, we'll be ready for next season as well. You got something?
Can I just tell you what the trade is? Corpusalo, 25% retained, the 25th overall pick, which originally belonged to Boston. And Mark, what's this guy's name?
Mark Kastelik, Calgary Hitman legend.
There you go. So,
Totally.
Linus Olmark.
How much line does Olmark have? on his
1 year
deal?
left.
1 year left.
1 year.
At-
Corpusalo
what is he
has
at?
multiple years.
6?
6, I think.
Six, something like that.
I
I thought-
honestly don't get that trade.
Mark Haslick might be the biggest piece of this trade. I'm not going to lie. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean,
But Mark Haslick played for the Calgary Hitmen in 2019. It was his final season there. Had like 40 or 50 goals. The only reason I know this is because I was working for the Calgary Herald Sun and
yes.
covered their run through the WHL playoffs that year. Big fan of Haslick, like that pickup for the Bruins.
My uncle Jonathan is in the chat. He's got a Let's Go Oilers.
Jonathan Horban.
All
Hey,
the way-
Uncle
And
Johnny.
let them know to wake up right now.
He's all the
'cause I
way.
know
He's
There's
in
a
Atlanta.
couple people who missed the
I
last
know.
game.
He's close. He lives in Atlanta.
Sadistic
there you
Angel
go.
says it right here. 10 minutes to go, and I got to find a way to get through that crowd to get on the mic.
Yeah.
I'm
You're
gonna-
on my back, boys.
I
got you.
am going to unload the fucking clip of merchandise tonight here at Credit Bar Egg. We got a whole box full of stuff.
Oh.
Every piece of that is getting thrown tonight. Let's move now to Betway 19 plus. Please play responsibly. It's time for Bordzy's Bankroll, the final one of the NHL season.
There
It's
we
brought to
go.
you by Betway, because with Betway, you can get a free bet up to $200 if your first bet loses. All you got to do, create a new account, scan the QR code that will be on your screen in a moment, redeem your bonus, join that action with that man in green. You place a bet, no minimum amount is required, and if that bet loses, you will get a refund up to $200. You can then use that money to bet on your favorite sports. This
Oh.
offer is only available outside of Ontario. How much did that stress you out watching those
I know.
servers carrying
Trying to get
tray after tray? No one's moving out of the way because no one can move out of the way right now. Pat, let's pull it up. Today's options. My first one, I believe in him. He needs one big performance in this series. I'm going Leon, 2+ points, plus 185. I'm chasing the juice. It's what we do for the final game of the season. My second one, 7-0 in Stanley Cup Final Game 7s. All 7 have gone under 5.5. It's currently minus 150. That's the lock. That's the one I like. And I wouldn't be doing myself justice if I didn't have a 97 anytime goal currently at plus 115. Gentlemen, which of these 3 bets do you like the most? We'll start with Julian.
Man, I like them all, but I think you've got to go with Leon Draisaitl. Connor McDavid anytime goal. At the end of the day, we kind of said it off the top. Big time players make big time plays in big time moments, and Connor McDavid is going to cement his legacy tonight again if he hasn't already. He could be the best player ever if he's not, right? So I can just see him showing up. I don't know what the score's going to be. I don't know what's going to happen, obviously, but I know Connor McDavid will show up.
I think that's good. Which of these 3 do you like?
Yeah, I don't mind a good under every now and then, but I don't know about it in this game. I'm going to be honest. I think if there was a game 7 for the over to hit, it does feel like it would be this game.
The last 4 games
Oilers-
have all hit the over.
The Oilers are just a different offensive animal. The Panthers, we know they can put the puck in the net, but I like the Draisaitl prop. I mean, if you're looking for one to inspire a little bit of hope right now, sign me up for the Draisaitl prop. I also think that, the Oilers' money line is pretty tasty too. Minus 120. I don't mind that at all.
Are we favorites now?
We are.
Yeah, minus
So
115, right?
Yeah, so it opened as a minus 110 pick 'em both ways. The line is moved. Oilers are minus 120 right now, according to Betway. Panthers are even money on the money line.
I get it, but I also think games like this should just be minus 110, minus 110.
Yep.
Some
I
kind
think
of
it's straight
I
pick 'em.
agree, but that's all about the market talking right
totally.
now, right? So that just shows how much of that money that people and the public are putting on the Edmonton Oilers right now.
Right.
So they're trying to find some value on the other side for bettors. That's why the Panthers have come to even money.
I don't got it in front of me right now, but I do believe Connor McDavid is leading the way. Let's go. Everybody, let's ride. I've already placed all 3 of those bets. As you know, that's what we do here at Bordzy's Bankroll. And folks, I'm going to sign off here because we got 5 minutes before it's 6. I got to crowd surf to get over there to the microphone to even be able to do anything. It has been an incredible ride. I've said it. Thank you to every single one of the nation's citizens. Could not do this without you. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Without you guys, we don't have fucking jobs. Okay, so you are the real MVPs. I appreciate everything you do. This chat has been my favorite place all season. Somebody just mentioned we got to go 3 months without pre-gaming with Bordsy. Maybe we'll just hang out with Bordsy one day. We'll go live on the YouTube during the summer.
Yeah.
We'll just crush beers. And
Love it.
we'll hang out.
Pre-gaming Olympics with Bordsy.
Oh,
Ooh, there we go.
Greta, you want to sponsor? Let's go. I'd love to come back here, but a big shout out to you. You've been my bullpen call all season. Big shout out to Patrick Puff, Brett Holden, Gavin at the beginning of the season. Everybody who put stuff towards this, Tyler, Liam, Coombsy, every single person in Oilers Nation. Kennedy made the logo. I love you all. You guys are absolutely incredible.
Congratulations to you.
And I was just going to say, above all else, Bordsy, hell of a job this year, buddy. You have made us proud. This show has been awesome. The way it has grown throughout the season is incredible. Chat, give it up for Bordsy. Let's see some love in the chat. Drop a like. Give the man some love.
I love you. I love you. I love every single one of you in the chat. Couldn't do this without you. You make this the greatest job in the world. The next time you see my face, I'm going to be crying. It's going to be happy tears or it's going to be sad tears, and we will find out in approximately 2.5, 3 hours.
Not soon enough.
Good luck out there, everybody. I love you. Catch you right here after the game, breaking down, hopefully, an Edmonton Oilers legendary performance. Good luck out there. I love you all.